Okay, folks, welcome to another painting edition. Let's check and see what everything that we had doing overnight, how it turned out. Mainly this Nuln oil. It doesn't look bad, but looks better on this one over here that I did. Let's just roll with it. See if it ends up being an issue. I got some tools painted on here. They don't really need to be painted at this point. I've got to do the weathering first, so. Let's go ahead and knock that out and see what these things start to look like as they come to life. And might as well do the Stug as well. The Stug does not have that weathering done to it either. All right, no, this is not the one we're gonna use this one. Good morning. You finally catch a live session. Well, there wasn't one yesterday, so you didn't miss that one. No, you're usually here. Oh, well, you don't catch the ones in the middle of the day. That's just unusual. Yesterday was a really weird day. Really weird day. It was, I couldn't stay awake. I was almost like I was over caffeined, and I was halfway between falling asleep and staying awake. It's weird. And apparently my phone died yesterday at some point. It got moisture in it. I don't know how, but it's relatively old. I mean, it's like 3 years or something like that. I don't want to replace it, but I think I'm going to have to. It won't stay charged. The one time I ran the battery down by not keeping a charge on it, which is something I almost never do, and I can't get it to start back up, and there's moisture in the camera, so that might be time to get a new phone. That's better than getting a new computer. The phone's cheaper. The phone's about $1,000 cheaper than the new computer. And I'd need to have a new computer as much as I'm using it now with you guys. Let's go ahead and start with the El Stug. And of course the phone breaks down on a Sunday, and today's the day they open the latest, so I can make do. I gotta have it by tomorrow though. I got too many phone calls and stuff. That's the only time I need phone calls is Monday through Friday. I don't use the phone for phone purposes at all, so I won't be doing any surfing. iPhone, nope. I'm the one holdout with a Samsung. And I don't see ever going to an iPhone. My wife has nothing but problems with the battery not charging and shit like that. Mine's on 3 years and shooting signs of age. Jules, welcome back. Yeah, I had no plans on replacing it because the model that I have is the only model that has the amount of RAM that it has. It either has 32, I think it's the only one that has 32 gigs of RAM, and all the other ones have 16. And I just don't see replacing it with something that it's pretty much all I'm using it for is to surf and videos and so forth. Oh man, I forgot to put the Nuln oil on this. Oh well, we'll put it afterwards. But you know, the thing that you say you're addicted to your phones, here's the biggest problem. I don't want to drive anywhere without a phone. But break down, I can't get a hold of anybody, you know. That whole phobia of what if it happens? You know, what if such and such happens? That's it. I don't need it for the phone calls. Well, you need it for that phone call, but just like my biggest panic would be running out of gas. I'm always on to my wife. She'll run it all the way down. I'm like, I do not know. We had a car one time that it would tell you, I don't know if it was accurate or not, down to the last mile, how many miles you had left. It was a Nissan Murano. And man, we had a scare. And I was driving, and I do not want to be that guy that's like, how come you didn't run out of gas, boy? You know, I don't want to hear it. Because I'll run it low even till the light turns on, but that's it. I gotta go find, I gotta find a place to go. And now, even more so because I put premium in my car. It makes a difference. And not only that, it makes a difference which premium I put in. I only put Shell in. It doesn't like any of the other ones. It starts having issues wanting to start. It's finicky. It's got very expensive tastes, I guess, but it makes a difference. Does not behave well with the other ones. Hey Marcus, here's some of those decals you sent me. We just jumbled up the numbers a little bit. Worked just fine. Some of those crosses were out of off kilter is what I was going to say. No, they're out of register. But all we did was paint the legs that weren't visible in white. Works just fine. I'm going to take a step back from assembly lining so much, and I'm going to finish this one. Because I'm getting pulled in too many directions, and this thing's about to fall off. If it hasn't already. I don't know how the hell it's holding on by a thread. Well, we'll go ahead and use super glue now since it's kind of half held on. And if it breaks off completely, we'll epoxy it. But it was originally epoxy on there. Yeah, my wife would love nothing more than for me to go to an iPhone, and I'm just not interested. She has not proven to me that their batteries are worth a damn. I love my phone. There's nothing wrong with it, other than it won't start. it won't charge. Well, and the batteries all. And that happened yesterday. It didn't get to. It came back, and before I jumped in the shower yesterday, I coated it with water. It didn't go underwater. It's supposed to be underwater proof for 5 or 10 feet or something like that. And where's my stickum? Here we go. And I just gave it a rinse, and that's it. Next thing I know, my camera is fogged up. So I suspect that there was a crack in the glass, a very small crack in the glass, and that's what allowed moisture to get in. But I put it in rice overnight. It didn't help. I swear we've recovered a phone that way. So I don't even care if I get the stuff off the old phone. I just need one that works. That's a good way to clean your phone out. Just lose everything on your other phone. You don't have to worry about it. And I was having an issue with my phone where it was basically, when I searched for things, it was like in Finnish or something like that. I couldn't get that to fix. So it solved that problem. Getting another phone will solve that. I think that'll hold. I'm going to put another little dab of this. had it. I've had it long enough that the insurance lapsed on it, so it's probably 3.5 years old. I suspect it happened during Memorial Day because my other one melted when it happened. The power cord, the plastic in it got into the charging thing, and you couldn't use it anymore. So I suspect come this Memorial Day it would be 4 years old. That's my guess. Glad they came in handy. Yes, I did the same with you. Some of the crosses. I almost ran out of gas on a holiday in New Zealand. I was in an area of the country without many stations. Got lucky though. Same thing happened to me in Canada. I saw more casinos than I saw gas stations. You have a picture of me kissing a gas pump. Petrol pucker up. And then you realize it breaks down to about $9 a gallon US. What the hell, you mother... Yeah, the gas ended up in Canada ended up being like almost like $7 a gallon. Like, if you're selling gas for $7 a gallon, I'd have more gas stations. And people always like to say, "Oh, gas is so much expensive now." I disagree. Look at how much the minimum wage is, and you'll see that the gas isn't that expensive. It's all the other shit that they've tacked on to stuff. I'd say housing is more expensive than anything else. You can control how much, to a degree, you can control how much you drive. You can't if you commute to work and it's a long drive. I don't have one of those. Never really have. But man, you got to live somewhere. You can't live somewhere where, people are going to be shooting at you in the middle of the night. Or they throw, trash in your yard. You got to keep those people out of your life. You can't wait to see the final results on the Hetzer. So I went out today. I mean, not today. It seems like today. Yesterday. To Hobby Lobby. Because I wanted to get a product that I found out that might save me. It's made by the same people who make the microscale folks. And I forget exactly what it's called. I could tell you, but I can't sign in my Amazon account because it's, I could, but it's on the computer. I usually do all that on my phone. This, it's like a decal fix thing that supposedly I can fix old decals with, because I'd like to use the decals from the Hetzer and the Hummel and the Vespa. They're kind of unique. I don't want to keep using all these numbers that all look exactly the same, like they were painted by the same guy. So I ordered that. Should be in on Friday. To keep the decals from exploding, because the tip the old geezer gave me on at the model show didn't work. Because the Hetzer has kind of some unique decals. Some different looking numbers. I'd like to use those. I don't really like this miniature of this Stug. It's a little too big. And it is so heavy. But the panic of the phone is a little bit less than it's ever been before, because I don't use it for filming anymore. If I did, I'd be like, oh, I can't do my painting show. Oh. You know. Nope. Now, let me put my glasses and step away from it so I can see what it looks like. And it looks equivalent, as I like to say. Okay, we'll still have to paint the muffler down there and some of the tools, but we know that going in. All right, let's do the same thing with the N. Is the phone kaput? I don't know. It's got moisture in it. When my charging port stopped working, I had to switch to a wifeless charger for a few years. Got to go back to being a single guy and get a wifeless charger. One that doesn't bitch so much. Yeah, it won't charge. Normally you would plug it in, it would say fast charging. It doesn't do that. It's at 0%. Somehow I got moisture in it. I suspect that there's a little crack in the screen that doesn't look like a crack, and I don't know. Shit happens, you know. I used it a lot, you know, so it's just a pain that I got to go to the damn store at noon. They don't open till noon. The good thing is it's almost 7. What a typo! You did do the correct typo though. That reminds me of a history class I had one time, and the professor he would go over the grades. He'd go over the test, and he would give you the right answer and also the right wrong answer. So the answer that was almost correct but wasn't the correct answer. That would have been the right wrong answer right there. A wifeless charger. Yes. I said one of them that doesn't bitch so much. My wife doesn't bitch. I bitch more than my wife. What else are wives known to do? What are common wife problems that people complain about? Not necessarily mine, I mean just in general. I talked about this. Probably about a year ago, and I said, what is it that you would find, what is the one thing that you would find intolerable in a partner? And right off the bat, I know exactly what mine would be. Because it's literally the thing I'm the best at. And if somebody argues with me about the thing I'm the best at, they can go fly a kite up their ass. Where did I get that? I must have just invented it, like Nerd Burglar. Nerd Burglars with kites up their ass. That's the name of my new channel. That would be arguing about how to get somewhere. Oh, fuck you. You do not. I am the map messiah. You do not fuck with me about directions. Having somebody else tell me how to get somewhere. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is a fatal flaw. I would rather be married to a communist. Well, it's close. Yeah. If the communist just shuts up, right, maybe that would be all right. Do not argue with me about how we're going to get somewhere. Fatal flaw. Well, apparently burn food. My charging port broke because of the part of the charger connection came off and shorted it. Yeah, my last phone died because the port in it, the cord that was connected to it overheated, and the plastic that was on the end of that cord melted into the charging port. So now you have a charging port that you can't stick something else into because there's plastic melted into it. But again, I had it like 4 years or something like that. The last three Samsungs have lasted a long time. You know, that's what I plan on getting. Because I don't want to have to relearn how to do everything. You know, and you know, the only reason to get an iPhone, the only reason is so I can go, honey, how do I do this? So because she's really familiar with it, but my battery has been solid. That I've never had have to have her battery replaced. It always held a charge really well. With all these Samsungs, the Apple batteries that she has, she's had nothing but problems. So you're not really selling me on it, you know. Couldn't marry somebody that burned food all the time, huh? I'd rather be the house cook. Well, we're going out on a limb here. I'd rather be the person that cooked all the food, but don't argue with me about directions. Fuck you. I'm getting mad just thinking about it. And that person doesn't exist. My wife does not do that. No, she lets me handle that whole department. Perfect. I'm getting angry just thinking about it. Nordic was here, he'd be like, "Yeah, you couldn't be married to somebody who thought Alexander was a better general than Hannibal." That's who cares about that? Just don't argue about where we're going. You can complain about my driving, you just can't complain about my directions. Absolutely not. Fatal flaw. What do they call it? Irreconcilable differences. What about arguing about the recipes? Nah, food's not that important. I'm actually really easy with the food department. I'm not one of those people. Oh, yeah. As long as you don't put ketchup on shit. And those damn beans you guys eat over there in the UK. All your damn beans. You know, here's the thing, and I do mean this completely in jest, but that whole beans and toast thing, you know, you guys won the Second World War. I think you did. Why you gotta eat beans and toast? The Germans were eating better shit than that, and they lost. You guys bombed the living hell out of the Germans, and they're eating better things than beans and toast. What's wrong with you guys? Oh man. And I have no problem with the British cousins. Not my cousins, but they're still the British cousins. I was thinking about that the other day. Man, maybe you should have lost the war. You might have been eating better stuff. Oh man. Go get a Coke. much as I hate it, I'd rather drive on the British side of the road than eat beans and toast. You know, the good thing about driving on the wrong side of the road is, you know, the side you guys drink is the side you guys drive on is they do the same thing in Japan. Spaghetti on toast is better. I'm telling you, you should have lost the fucking war, man. You know, it'd just be burp, 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 and you'd be eating better food, right? Anyways, what I was saying, the good thing about driving on the wrong side, like you guys do, is they do that in Japan. That's where my favorite cars come from. So you could, maybe they'd import other cars that they wouldn't have to turn the steering column on the other side. I don't know about shifting on with the left hand though. I guess you just have to get used to it. Most of your cars in Europe still stick shift, or have you gone the lazy ass American way of taking the pleasure out of driving? That'd be like a big draw for me to go to Europe. Like every car is like stick shift. Awesome. Sign me up. I'd rather drive a sluggish car and stick shift than a zippy one that's automatic. Automatic's just boring. Well, it depends how sluggish. Volkswagen Beetle will be a little extreme. And Volkswagen Beetle's like 0 to 60 in like 32 seconds or something like that. Man, I could take a nap. Hey, wake me up when you get up to the speed limit. Tinned spaghetti hoops, oh, and little hot dogs on toast is bliss. Throw in plenty of pepper and some Worcestershire sauce to make it complete. What the hell did those guys drop on you out of those Zeppelins? What kind of gas was that? I didn't grow up. I didn't grow up with a typical American mother. Well, that's probably an understatement of the century. But she wasn't up with American food, so I never had that Chef Boyardee stuff one time. So we had a hurricane one time. We bought some stuff for a hurricane in case we needed it at the old house. Many years ago. I was already married, but many years ago. The wife decided to buy some Chef Boyardee, and I've never tried it before. Well, we ended up not needing it for the storm. I don't think we even lost power. And we decided to crack this open and have it. I never had it before in my life. Horrible. Absolutely fake tasting horrible. Oh well. Oh well. Yeah, I didn't have any of that stuff growing up. I remember I was a kid one time and I asked my mom, "Hey, Mom, can I have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?" All the kids seem to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I get to school and I was famous for, I hated being in freaking school. I hated being in grade school because, if you have parents that aren't with the program, it's really difficult being a kid, especially because kids are brutal to each other. So I would have, I ended up getting, sometimes I get a sandwich on hot dog bread, like hot dog buns. Like, you want to see people fucking eating that, And so I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. My mom didn't really understand what it was, so I got one hot dog bun with jelly on, one hot dog bun with peanut butter on it. Like, Can I go home now? Can I? I want to be an adult. The one thing I did like about being a kid is I didn't have a dad that wouldn't let me play with like toy guns and soldiers and shit like that. Now you got these parents that don't play with violent stuff. They grow up to be violent people. No, I think you grow up to be violent people if you don't get to play with violent things when you're a kid. You get it out of you and you realize it's just a freaking toy. Beans on toast is an upgrade from a toast sandwich. You mean just toast by itself? I don't know. Butter? You ever had bread with butter on it and then some sugar on it? That's actually pretty decent. Let's see. What ethnic comfort food that I grew up eating? Eggs and rice. Have a bowl of rice with a couple of fried eggs on top of it. That's pretty good. There's a saying in Spanish when you have things that don't go together. The saying is arroz con mango, which is, rice with mango. Except I actually had that in a restaurant. It actually tastes good. It was like, some trendy rice that had little bits of mango in it, sauteed, and it was actually really good. So maybe things that don't go together actually taste better. And I like beans. I just don't like the baked beans type beans. As a kid, lima beans sucked. As an adult, I don't know. They changed them. They're better now. And they're still super starchy. But the ugly duckling panzer. I'm not a fan of how these things look. Barrel is just a wee bit short. Toast sandwich is a slice of toast between two sliced... What? Slice of toast between two slices of bread with some salt and pepper thrown in. So it's just 3 slices of bread, right? So you got soft bread, hard, soft bread. Well, one thing's for sure, our parents would certainly eat stuff that we'd rather not eat. Due to hard times, not trying to make do. And I'm talking about not even in a war situation. In a war situation, well, you just freaking eat what you can, You're getting the crap bombed out of you. Actually, I'd like to do some, you always... They probably would have had there was a book that I saw in Connecticut, and I forgot what the hell it is. Something like World War II in charts. It had a more complicated name than that. But at a glance, it would show you complicated things with pie charts and stuff like that, which I'm a big fan of. And I bet there's a pie chart for every bomb that the Germans dropped on England, tonnage-wise. I think what the English repaid them with was like tenfold, maybe even more than tenfold. I'm surprised there's not a big, still burning lake in the middle of Saxony. You hated lima beans as a kid. As an adult, like you, I'll eat them. Yeah, they're different. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Steve. Any kind, I never hated vegetables growing up. I never did. But I didn't have school lunches, and I think school lunches is where the problem is. There's nothing wrong with vegetables. There's nothing gross with vegetables, but there's a shitty way to prepare everything. And lunch just kind of, school lunch just kind of throws everything together. And, like peas. Peas are wonderful. Peas at school, they suck, But there's no vegetable they did in school that was worth a damn. They'll just take something like broccoli, which is actually a pretty decent vegetable, and then you do some kind of cream thing where it's just like it's mushy and it has no taste, and the taste it does have is bad, and it's just like I think they just ruin kids' palates. And then you don't have parents that enforce, no, you got to eat everything. And my parents are like, you got to eat everything on the freaking plate, and it's handy as an adult because I pretty much like everything, you know. But I'm really looking forward to buying my first aircraft model in 40 years. I don't know what it's going to be. It ought to be a P-40. It was my first one that I built. Should be a P-40. I'm probably going to build aircraft I've never built before if I do that. Should build some Japanese aircraft. Never built Japanese aircraft. Be an opportunity to learn more about them. And all the silly non-aggressive names they gave them. Sally and Claude and Francine and made up that last one. Well, I don't know what time we'll start, but we're going to do another World War II show tomorrow. At least that's what the intent is. I don't know when it's going to start. Depends on when the person that works on Monday decides to get over there. Or we're going to do aircraft based. I got a couple aircraft books that are pretty new, unlike those 2 tank books I had. And we're going to talk some aircraft and find out how little Mitch and I know about aircraft, especially him. I've at least played aircraft. I've at least played flight simulators. I've had canned vegetables, which are terrible. Yeah. I don't know that I had them. I don't know that I had canned vegetables at home. I remember when we lived in Alabama in the late 70s. We'd buy orange juice, and orange juice was from Kraft. And it came in a big glass bottle. And it was, concentrated to the 10th power. But I don't think that was because it was in Alabama. I just think it was just the times. Nobody drinks that stuff there. You get the fresh kind, you just don't have it at all. I'm curious to see how that decal fix stuff works. Because I'm not necessarily hooked on buying the latest, greatest models that they make. I'm fine with the old ones. You can make old things look just fine. As long as they're not like vacuum form or something like that. That's just sadistic trying to do something like that. Alright, we're going to weather over this rust lightly, and I think actually looks pretty good. Make sure we get all these edges. We weathered the lumbar. Yeah, I guess we did. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the Panzer III M. Yeah, I got a lot of aircraft to build that I've never touched before. Because I only had like 6 or 8 planes or something like that. So no Messerschmitts, no Stukas, no Spitfire. What else did I have? P4, I never really built it. I built it. It was a snap kit. Injected molded models have much better detailed. Yeah, they've improved a lot, but the biggest thing, the problem with the old models is you'll have an old model that would have a panel line in between 2 panels. And I don't know, they just didn't have the technology. So instead of making it a gap, they'd make it a little raised section. So you'd have a raised section every place there was supposed to be a gap. You want to avoid that. But all the old plane models I built, with the exception of that P40, the P40 was pretty sure it was a monogram snap fit kit. All the other models were MPC stuff. That's what they had here. The old rebranded Airfix models. With their inspirational box art. I always liked the box art of all the MPC stuff. You'd think they'd use the same box art as the Airfix, but nope. They did different box art. I guess they just had a painter on hand and to keep that guy busy. Gotta keep his ass busy. I have a whole sheet of crooked spiders to put on German planes if I need them. I still have those from, I don't know, I might have to put decal fix on them. I had those a long time. But even back then, there was a few models that didn't put the crooked spider on there. I had one model of a DO17, not the Z, I want to say it's the E, the one they called the flying pencil, the sleek looking aircraft. I had markings for like early 1940 or 39 and Spanish Civil War. And all of my, I think it came from Germany or something like that. Forget who the manufacturer of it was. All the decals at that time was the first time I ever saw them was split. So they gave you the swastika that was split. You had to put it together. So you're the Nazi, not the manufacturer. Today, the new molds are printed. All 3D printed, huh? Anybody seen that? What's it called? Masters of the Air and like it? I caught only a glimpse of it for like, I probably watched 40 minutes of it over several episodes. Somebody was staying with us that wanted to watch it, and I wasn't very impressed. Didn't really want me to watch more. I liked it less than Pacific. I think the problem with Pacific is just hopped around too much. And the air, it was just only bomber crews. Like, what about all the other planes? And with that said, I never caught any action scenes. So if there were action scenes, they were few and far between. I just happened to catch the episode that didn't have any of it in it. No, we're going to have a World War II airplane show tomorrow. What I need to do is show up with this. This is what I actually should do. I may actually do that. Let's see, because this is actually a really good book. I remember being a really good book. The one for mixing drinks is excellent. These Idiots guides are actually really good. Maybe we'll stick to the airplane book. We'll do this at another time. Those are... I didn't know I had this book. A book that I got that I never read. I've never read this. I don't know when the hell I got this. Yeah, maybe I should look through it and see if I want to keep it or pass it on. How many books have you bought that you never even looked at? It's like, oh, this looks cool, and you take it home and never look at it again. I'm sure we're all guilty of that to some degree or another. What's this look like now? Let's put this guy next to it. Of course, you don't get the complete look yet because it's not sealed. It looks better sealed. And on the stand. Yeah, it's got the right look to it. You know, we're still going to have to paint some tools and stuff on there. Probably have a fair amount of books that I've never even looked at. Take a look at one thing, just one moment. This is down here. There's a hell of a lot more activity. I don't know if you've noticed this. There's a hell of a lot more activity on hobbies and stuff like that on a weekday than on a weekend. Guess everybody's looking for an excuse to get away from work. Screw around for a little bit. Where is the... Oh, we got to be careful. This is this one. This is this one. Yep. And this is this one. Now, let's put some more of the U.S. field drab. If this had not been such a sturdy model, I would have taken some of these shirts in off. I'm not a fan of the shirts in anyways, but they do, I think they look a lot better with some of them missing. Because the running gear on a Panzer III is actually attractive. Aesthetically pleasing. And most of this is going to be this color right here. So now dawn is going to be really late. Now, I'd rather have that than get home in the freaking dark every freaking day. That gets old. Let's see, what is it? 7:30. Looks like that. Yeah. I'll be going to work in the dark, darkish. Doesn't matter. It's December. It's a pain in the butt. The the time changes, and then gets adjusted back, and you end up having to run headlights to work and from every freaking day. It just wears on your psyche. The skirts missing are very real, fully intact as much of a model if you intend to use the tank for wargaming. Yeah, the reason I didn't do it on this one is because this is a wargaming model, and the real model actually has more brackets than this, and I only have brackets for I only have the brackets for two. So I'd have to remove this one, and then I've got these little snips that I just decided not to do it on this one. But my Panzer IV is a beautiful model. I'm gonna go grab it right now from Burvell. I took a few off, and I think this is gonna look really cool. When she's done, but this is a heck of a lot more. Delicate than the other ones. We're missing one in the middle here. And I just took one of the ones on the end. Really, I should cut them all out and put them so that they never all laid straight. They were just on hangers, and they would just, you probably couldn't sneak up on somebody with one of those, even if the tank was silent. Those things would be clanging on the side, but they've got 4 supports. The real ones have 4 supports, and they've got this piece that goes over. So even if you've got them missing, you would still have this, the channel that they sit on. I guess it's kind of a channel, but this is actually a really nice model. It's a Revell of Germany. All the hatches can be made open, and really beautiful model. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the 4H with the Scherzen, but they were very common. So another Nazi scumbag tank. They had cool looking tanks, but they were scumbags. It's funny, I don't ever say that about the World War I Germans. I could be doing this weathering with airbrush, but that just takes my own personality out of it. Makes it a little bit too much industrial. I just don't choose to do that. I think I'm gonna keep the red numbers. I don't know if I'm completely sold on them. I'd like them to stand out a little bit more than that, but I could look at pictures of real vehicles, and I certainly don't like how they all look. They frequently look like, somebody had a bad idea. Ministry of Bad Ideas. Okay, let's go back to doing the U.S. field drab. And they always look better when you seal them. It evens everything out. Looks more put together. I plan on doing aircraft using the same method, and I think I'm going to be successful with it. It may not be the best aircraft you see, but now the people at the model club are really aircraft heavy. You know, aircraft are cool. I just don't want to fly in any of them. I'm not a fan of flying an aircraft. I got control issues. But I think it'd probably be better to be scared of getting on an aircraft than being one of those people who gets motion sickness and throws up when they don't want to. I don't have that problem. I don't throw up unannounced. Those air sickness bags. Anybody ever seen somebody use an air sickness bag? But I really do like the look of Panzer IIIs. Not necessarily M's. I'm fine with, H's and G's and just kind of like how they look. They just look like run of the mill. Well, the camouflage definitely looks pretty subtle, which is my preference. I don't like those really big, bold camouflage schemes. It's funny, it's the same color yellow, but just the fact that it has green makes it look like the whole tank is much greener than it is. It's an optical delusion. You can build your aircraft with undercarriage up or down. I think I have to put it with it down because I don't want them hanging from the ceiling. You know, the easy way to get around that is build aircraft that have fixed landing gear or float planes. They don't have that decision to make, but I prefer aircraft with the landing gear up. But you know, where am I going to put them? I'm not going to hang them from the ceiling. So I don't think my wife would like that. Never mind my room with the hanging planes. It's such a kid. Yeah, and tell me something I don't know. That's the way you get around that. Only build planes with landing gear down. Well, you're going to be limited to Stukas and Nates, and I think the Soviets have a plane has a fixed landing gear. Well, it is one thing to do it. Just build those planes first and see if it burn out. CR-42s. What else? Planes have a fixed landing gear. Lysanders, right? Kind of a cool looking plane. Faith, Hope, and Charity. Those have fixed landing gear. Do swordfish have fixed landing gear? I think they do. No? Yeah, I think they do. I think it was you who were telling me about it. I didn't know the swordfish made a float plane. I didn't know there was a swordfish float plane. And I'm not totally ignorant of naval aircraft. I played naval games a lot, so you can't help but become familiar with a naval aircraft. Walruses? Walruses are cool. I like walruses. I don't even think they've got any armament at all. Build the old. Is it an Airfix? I get Airfix and Matchbox mixed up. They're both the same vintage. One of the two, I think it's Matchbox, makes a Ferry Sea Fox. It's probably a really old model. Decals will probably explode. I got to get the decal fixer-upper solved. The Japanese float planes are attractive. The Jake, it's a good looking plane. So are Rado 196s. But ideally, it would be aircraft that'd be usable in my game, as ground targets. So in that case, it is useful for them to have the landing gear down. Matchbox do the Sea Fox, both Airfix and Matchbox did the Walrus. Which one's better? of the vintage kits. I don't. I think they're this. To me, they're the same quality. Or I put them in the same category. But who really was better, Airfix or Matchbox? Way in the back of the day. When you're a kid, you like the Matchbox because ooh, they come in. They're molded in a couple different colors. Now I don't have to paint them. Stupid kid. What do you know? What do you know? You know, there's one color that I think everything should be molded in, light gray. I think if you mold everything in light gray, the details stand out really nice for to help you paint. A light gray, kind of like the UM models come in. Those are nice. All right, I gotta take a bathroom break, and I will be right back as soon as I can. Norwegian Gladiator with skis? No, but I've thought about. Is it Matchbox that builds a Hawker Fury for the Yugoslavians? I think they do. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool, actually. That's actually a good looking plane. And biplanes aren't ugly. They're only ugly in the First World War. I'm not a fan of First World War aircraft. They're almost all universally unattractive to me. Almost all of them. But the World War II biplanes, they're pretty good looking, honestly. Just about all of them. Matchbox was better. Yeah. Great pack. So I was thinking about something, and something I never really thought about before. And when we're talking about tanks, the Italian tanks are bad, but they make the Japanese tank. They're much better than the Japanese tanks. Japanese tanks just trash or trashier. They're good for fighting the Chinese, who really don't have any, or very few. But they did get some Stewarts, which, you know, best light tank of the Second World War. If you excuse the Chafee, which really didn't see a whole lot of action, but the two similarities between the Japanese and the Italians is that of all their arms, the Japanese army and the Italian army were the worst ones, as far as equipment and stuff like that. Because the Italian Air Force actually had some decent aircraft. Obviously, the Japanese have decent aircraft. But the Italian Air Force actually had some decent aircraft. And the Italian ships are nothing to scoff at. I mean, they had fuel issues, and they didn't want to sacrifice them. But other than that, the Italian ships were, well, they're beautiful for starters. Absolutely beautiful ships. And the same thing with the French. The French had some beautiful ships. Now, aircraft, I don't know what the hell happened to the French Air Force in 1940. What time is it? Almost 8. Yeah, we're going to stop in a little bit here. Get some other stuff done. Let's finish painting these details black. This one should already have them in. They do. And where's the other one? Oh, we got to do the cables back here. French had some ugly bombers. Amiot for one, which is the one I can think of. The block. Why is that plane so ugly? It's called a block. I can't look for it right now. I don't have my phone. Damn it. French bombers. I'll take your word for it. What do you think of that big Russian bomber, that Tu-2, the one that looks like it's made out of corrugated metal, like a Ju-52, but I think it looks cool. I don't really know what happened to the French Air Force in 1940. You just get outclassed? Couldn't have been that small. That plane looks like blah. Oh, I think that's what we'll name it. Thanks. We're coming up. We're trying to figure out a name for it. Appreciate your help on that. Okay, that's one of these had needed something on the back too. The stoop. Yeah, we got this crank thing here. You paint these little detailed things and you dry brush over it. You just end up having to paint over them. I don't like them weathered. I want them to stand out a little bit. Gives it a little bit of something to look at. and some decent modern founder, just not enough of the Dewaltine, 520, Dewaltine. Get out of my Dewaltine. I got the seat exactly where I want it. Don't move this seat in my Dewaltine. Dewalton. Probably Dewalton. I love playing the French. I don't get much of an opportunity to do it. I don't play Napoleonic stuff and things like that, so I don't get to get my French fix out. I'll play anybody. So, all right, folks. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye for now.